Welcome to Leaders Who Lead Differently. I am your host, Dr. Lovella Mogere. I'm excited about this segment. With me on today, I have Bruce Hill. Please get a friend, share the link, get pen and paper as we're diving yet into this topic. We'll discuss the topic here in a little bit. But if you're thinking about starting a business, if you already have a business, you're transitioning and now you're revamping, but restructuring your business, this segment is for you. Again, I'm Dr. Lovella McGarry here with Leaders Who Lead Differently, the DNA of cultural innovation. And I'm going to introduce my special guest, Bruce Hill. Welcome to Leadership Who Leads Differently. Tell us a little bit of who you are, a little bit about your business, and why you do what you do.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to serve. My name is Bruce Hill of New Skills, New You, where we know if you grow your people, you grow your business. So we make sales simple. We help you hear yes more often without sounding salesy. So today, we're going to talk about how to grow your business without expensive software, without spending hours and hours through books and podcasts and training, without hiring a costly, hard to find C suite executive. We're going to teach you how to grow your business with three simple question frameworks. So if you're taking notes, the title for this talk could be Better Questions, Better Clients.
Better questions, clients. Thank you so much for that, Bruce. Again, better questions, better clients. And for those that's trying or looking for new clients or new customers and how to get customers and packaging and repackaging to get new customers, this segment is for you. And so, Bruce, how long have you been doing this?
Listen,
This
I've been
business
doing
model.
this business model. I
Yes.
have been working as a sales professional for over 15 years. I've
Mm,
been a trainer for over 20 years, and I've been a speaker for 30 years. So I want you to give yourself some grace. I will make this as simple as possible, but if you don't get it right away the first time, don't worry. We're here to help you succeed.
thank you so much for that. And why? Why the topic better questions, better clients?
Why did I create, and I can't take credit for creating it, but why did I focus on asking better questions? Because as I started my first business and failed, as I started my second business and failed, as I started the third business and failed, and I started that fourth business and had a little bit of success, and I started the fifth one and had a little bit more success, and I finally created a model that's easy to duplicate,
Okay.
easy to implement, and anyone, extrovert, introvert, shy, young, old, can use right away to grow their business. So the simple answer is, why is it better questions, better clients? Because that's the simplest way I know that you can increase your customer retention, you can
Mm,
increase your revenue without many extra complicated steps.
thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm glad you did not give up because you said by the fourth try, some of them are still trying to um, implement, try again. They're scratching their heads. The number one, like you, have tried over and over. When did you decide to go back and look at the model a little bit closer to see where, I don't want to use the word where you went wrong, but to see based on execution or implementation that you have to revamp some things?
That's a beautiful question. You already starting to understand the better question framework. I remember a period in my life where I said I want something different. I remember, and maybe you're at this point in your life, someone listening to this, you're looking in the mirror and you say, man, I know there's something else for me. And I asked myself, if I want something different, what do I need to do differently? And that's such a simple question. But what do we say? Better questions create better clients. And I
Mm,
called my friend up and I asked him, now here's a lesson for all of you. People can only give you advice based on their life experience. If you take their advice long enough, you will end up with a mirror image, a copy of their life. So
Mm,
don't take advice from anyone that you wouldn't want to swap places with. So if he had sold houses, I might be a realtor today.
okay.
If he had sold insurance, I might be an insurance broker today. But if he had sold drugs, I might be dead or in jail. Fortunately, he sold cars. So guess what his advice to me was? He said, Bruce, you could talk to people, you could sell cars. And that was a catalyst in my life. Now, I want to let you know if you don't like talking to people, I'm still going to teach you how to grow your business using better questions. But for Bruce Hill, for that period of my life, that question I asked myself, what do I need to do differently, is created the answer that led me to learn a new skill. And I'll say this time and
Mm,
time again, one new skill will change your life. That's where it
mm.
all shifted.
Okay, because it froze just a little bit. You said that's where it shifted for you. Thank you so much
Mhm.
for sharing that. I asked that question strategically because we're in a place where business owners are spending more time branding than asking themselves the right questions to be able to target their audience. What is the difference, you might say, with branding and trying to get the right customer?
Great question. So we talk about someone, let's start with someone early in their business.
Mm,
Maybe they haven't launched yet. I want you to pay close attention to this.
okay.
And I talk about this in my next book of the same title, Better Questions is Better Clients. And there's three question frameworks I teach. The first one is questions you ask yourself. The second are questions you ask your customer or client. And the third are what questions are your client asking themselves? Okay. So let's go back to the beginning. Questions you ask yourself. I was in a Lyft. I accidentally ordered a Uber Black, and I was like, "Well, this is nice." So I asked him what he did. He said, "I have a
Mhm.
transportation company." And I asked
Okay.
him, "If you have a transportation company, why are you driving Lyft?" And then he started telling me all of these things that were going wrong. He was telling me all of these things that weren't working well in his business. And maybe someone who's trying to launch their business, or maybe they just launched, is running into all sorts of obstacles. And so I asked him, I said, "Hey, listen, I don't want to ignore the challenges, but I haven't heard you take any responsibility for these problems. It's always someone else's fault. Do you mind if I
Mm,
ask you a few questions?" And these are
mhm.
questions I want you to ask yourself. This is where your business will transform. This is where you'll start to see better clients because you're going to ask better questions. So I said, "Hey, do you have a vehicle?" He said, "Yes, I own this vehicle." I said, "Beautiful. Do you have the business license?" He said, "Yes, I have a business license." I said, "Do you have the appropriate insurance to operate a vehicle in this business?" He said, "Yes, I do." I said, "Do you have customers for your business?" He said, "No, I don't." And then I told him, I said, "Well, your solution is very simple. Those challenges won't go away, but you can't control them. You can control how many people you talk to and tell about your business, how many clients you get." So, the question for you, before you build a website, before you print out business cards, before you update your social media, before you start this funnel, before you fill in the blank, go talk to some customers. Who do I need to talk to today so I can serve today, so I can grow my business today? Those are the questions that lead us to better clients. And we're spending less time to make more money while we make more impact.
And so, in talking to those customers, we will be able to determine the need.
You will get a lot farther in determining the need for your clients if you ask the client. Instead of what you think they want, ask them what they want. Ask them for feedback, ask them for input. It will save you years.
And thank you so much for that. So, why do you think one spends so much time developing and creating the packages to be able to serve customer without being able to get the data to be able to serve that customer base? Is it because of the image or the packaging? Why do one spend so much time branding to present and we don't have or then don't have the customer base?
Ah, that's a wonderful question. Why do people spend so much time on things like branding than actually talking to the customers? I believe there's three reasons.
Okay.
The first, preparation quickly becomes fancy procrastination.
Mm,
There's no one to reject us. There's nothing that can go wrong if we stay
mm,
in a state of preparation. Number two, we're used to having a right or wrong outcome. And this is something that our school system does very well. It teaches us that there's only right answers or wrong answers. Fortunately, in business, there's good and there's better. And you very rarely can get it wrong if you keep going. All right. So, fancy procrastination. Two, not leaving room to grow, right? Searching
mm,
that perfection and not giving us space to practice. Then number three is they have unreasonable expectations because of social media influencers. We have an unprecedented ability to see what success looks like in other people. And you've heard this before. I'll borrow the aphorism. We're comparing our chapter 50, excuse me, someone else's chapter 50 to our chapter 5. And
mm,
that makes it very difficult for people to get started. So, preparation is procrastination, pursuit of
mm.
perfection, which is unattainable, and then comparison, which is dangerous and stops us from moving forward. And when really what we should be doing at every stage in our business is talking to our customers, future and current and past.
Thank you so much for that. Again, the topic on today or right now is better business, better clients.
Mhm.
You're using the word influence. So a lot of emerging business owners are looking at other influence or influencers, thus gravitating to their model of business. I asked that question because based on implementing the blueprint or model of business, one might not discover their niche because they're taking hold of a business model. Since we're talking about better business, better clients, how do we know that business model is the right fit for us?
How do we know that business model is a right fit for us? So, that's a challenging question, and we don't have time to cover it here. So I'm gonna touch on a few key things to look out for. First of all, there's no unique business created. Every business idea has been thought of at this point of recording this talk. That's not to discourage you, though. I want to free you up from trying to invent a brand new business. What is much more valuable use of your time is to find an innovative way to solve an old problem. How do I find a new way to solve an old problem? I'll give you a very simple example. I created New Skills New You as a talent and workforce development company. I made a combination of personal development and sales training. And to my knowledge, no one else has put those two together. I'm really surprised by that. Helping companies be more profitable is not a new business. Productivity, sales, those aren't new offers. However, the way I've created lasting change in organizations and businesses is by that personal development is permanent. Let me say that again. Your personal development is permanent. So when I grow the people, I grow the business. That's an example from my life. I want to lead by example. So when I want you to look at it, you're like, man, I want to get into credit repair, but so many people are already doing it. I want to get into social media influencing, but so many people are already doing it. I want to start a trucking business, but so many people are already doing it. I don't want you to use that as a reason or excuse not to try. Your responsibility is to take your unique story, experience, and identity and find an innovative way to solve an old problem. That's how we can stop comparison from stopping us from moving forward.
Thank you so much for sharing that because um, just like you said, there are so many business models out there. And I specifically asked that question for those that's willing and ready to launch, but they're trying to figure out which business model to go with. And being that there's so many business models, like you said, that have aged or That model have been here or been in existence for so long. Um, just stepping out to be able to build and establish a business, uh, mean there's so many options, so many
Mm,
options. They don't have to be closed in and don't. And I've said it be that there's a convergence and a transfer and a shift since COVID. One could be have more than one. We're in a place where we have like 10 business. One person have 5 to 10 business because they're able to wear multi hats.
absolutely.
But for them to have the freedom, that's the word I'm looking for, freedom to be able to stretch and implement as they expand in their choices or their option of businesses. So thank you so much, Anna. Thank you for tapping into yet your niche based on your model, and it worked for you. Now, when did you discover that that model worked for you?
I really like the question of what business model should we choose. Here, there's three questions, and I really wish we had time to dive into these deeper.
Okay.
So, one resource I offer for the audience is askingbetterquestions.com. I have two free
Mm,
trainings there and a pre-order of a copy of my book where we really dive into how better questions create better clients. But I'll give you
mm,
a little sneak peek if I may.
okay.
The questions we ask ourselves are going to help us choose a business model. There's three questions. There's three
Mm,
questions that you can ask today, whether your business has been around for 50 years or 5 minutes. What problem do you solve? And I do a whole separate training on this. A lot of people answer that question with the solution they offer, not the problem they solve. What problem do you solve is number one. Two, who do we solve this problem for? And being very clear on that. Then three,
mm,
your question, what business model do we use? How can we effectively, quickly, and affordably
yes.
deliver that solution to them? And when I use the word affordable, I don't mean cheap. If you're delivering
Mm,
cars, a car can be anywhere from $20,000 to $200,000. I'm not telling you to lower your prices. I just encourage you to think of the simplest way to deliver that solution.
mm,
And that's not only good for the business overhead, but it's good for the customer as well. Your business model may change. Let's go to Netflix. And a lot of people don't remember when Reed Hastings started Netflix, they were physically mailing DVDs to your home.
yes.
Okay. Now there's some folks born never even had a Netflix DVD in their hands. Okay. And they've changed their business model. So I don't want you to get too locked in on the business model. You have permission to change the business model. Let's start with the problem you solve and the people you solve it for, and that will dictate how we effectively deliver those services. Great question. Great question.
Thank you so much for that. So we're moving forward. So how can we effectively deliver service, basically on what you were saying as an entrepreneur or a serial entrepreneur? And for again, do you mind tapping into the different types of business owners? Again, there's an emergence of business models that's on this coming up on the forefront. And for those that could be more comfortable in their skin as they expand and grow, being that they are emerging business owners, they might have had this blueprint in at the forefront of their mind, but which way or which paths should go. What are the different business types based on the discussion that we had? They're still entrepreneurs, and you also said that we're CEO entrepreneurs. Would you mind just tapping into the different types of entrepreneurs, and then we'll go a little deeper into better business, better clients.
Mm. So when you ask about the different types of business, my mentor taught me years ago, also been almost 10 years now. He said,
Mm-hmm.
Bruce, the only business is people.
Mm,
And I think that's become even more powerful and relevant in this world of artificial intelligence. Because I'll quote, shout out to Justin Burns, Maestro. He said that he's the first person I heard say it. Don't come for me in the comments. He said that AI is not going to take our jobs, but people using AI is going to take your jobs. And
mm.
so what
Oh, repeat
was
that again, Bruce. Repeat that again.
AI will not take your job.
Mhm.
Someone using AI will take your job.
Mm,
And this is the fundamental principle of new skills, new you of my company. That one new skill will change your life. And AI is happening more quickly, but any new technology takes someone's job. So let's use the telephone. Most of the folks listening to this do not remember a time before the telephone. However, before telephones were in every household and affordable to every household, there was something called a door-to-door salesman. And that is just like it sounds. A person would pick up the items and carry them to someone's home and knock on the door to sell it to them. So when the phone came around, people could get a catalog and they could order over the phone. And it made the door-to-door salesman obsolete. Now, is that the technology's fault? Does it make technology bad? No. We probably have, where's my phone? It's probably on the charger. You probably have your phone within arm's reach right now. You probably have it in your hand. Maybe you're watching this on your phone. So it's not the phone that's bad, because what happened when they created the phone? The door-to-door salesman went away and telemarketers appeared.
Yes.
So let's go back to today, right? We're recording this, it's 2024.
Mhm.
Artificial intelligence is just one of many examples of how we interact with people. I don't believe, at least for the short term, that it's going to make people obsolete, because you'll still need programmers, cybersecurity, data science, data analysts, software engineers. The skills that you're going to need to succeed have changed. So, how does this go to your question, Dr. Lovella, on what type of businesses are there? There's only one type of business, and that's a business that serves people. How each business does that is what you are, as the creative, as a CEO, as a founder, as the entrepreneur. How you serve them is going to what makes you unique. That's where those better questions comes in. You're asking yourself, how can we stand out in this crowded, noisy, worldwide online economy?
Yes. 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 Not only the how do we stand out, but what about the longevity of the business?
Mm, mm, mm. Longevity. That's such a beautiful question. I read a book. As an author, I like to read as well. I'm
Mhm.
always picking up tips, and hey, man, I really like how they explain that. In a book by Jim Collins called Built to Last, he talks
Mm.
about how do we create something that lasts 100 years.
Yes.
And this is, again, that's a question. That's what, so when I talk about askingbetterquestions.com, we dive into what questions we need to ask ourselves so our business is here today, tomorrow, and in the next century. The biggest thing is to be clear on the problem you solve.
Mm.
Everything else can change, but when you're clear on
Yes.
the problem you solve, then it allows you some flexibility, allows space for innovation, and it allows space for longevity. So let's go to our good friends at Blockbuster. What problem do they
Okay.
solve? What People are bored and they didn't want to be. They wanted
Mm.
entertainment and they didn't have it. So Blockbuster solved the problem by providing DVDs.
Yes.
Why it's not around anymore is the problem didn't go away. People still get bored and they still want entertainment.
Okay.
They stopped innovating. And
Mm.
the problem never went away. The
Yes.
people didn't go away. Maybe, right? I watched a movie yesterday on Netflix, right?
Yes.
We were talking about Netflix. So as a business owner, as a CEO, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, continue to find new ways to solve old problems. And your business will be here lifetimes, for generations.
Thank you so much for sharing that. You said lifetimes for generations. And when you said lifetime for generation, based on the phase of the business, when do one know to revamp their business structure or
Mm.
what phase they are in
Mm.
while they are in business?
When do you know to revamp the business or what phase of business you're in? This all goes back, and it almost sounds like a broken record, right? It sounds redundant. It goes back to asking better questions. That's why I titled the lead magnet askingbetterquestions.com. That's where it starts. So when we talk about, hey, how do I know when to pivot? How do I know when to revamp the business? You're asking yourself those questions. You said it perfectly. You have to periodically ask yourself that question. And then here's what the more successful people are going to do. They're going to ask three people. They're going to ask the client, They're going to ask a peer and they're going to ask a mentor. They're going to ask the people they're serving. They're going to ask someone that's next to them, whether that's in their business, in a mastermind, someone that has similar experience. And then they're going to ask someone ahead of them. The combination of those answers is going to provide you insight on what your next move is. It's going to take a little imagination sometimes. Technology has never changed this fast. So some people won't have the answers. You will have to use your creativity. I think creators win. Shout out to all my creatives. You have to use your creativity to see possibilities that don't exist yet.
But are they paying attention?
A lot of people aren't. And that's why they have to ask better questions. They're wondering why they can't get better clients, why people aren't coming back. And it's very subtle because they ask themselves, like, man, what's going on? It's not working. But they don't take it a step further and ask themselves that question. What do I need to do differently to get this to work? And that's where I wrote this book, or I am writing this book, because I believe that there's a lot of amazing people that just need a little help, right? That right question so that they can get to the next level in their life and business.
Yes, thank you so much. And I'm glad that you're bringing up ask question, because one could be so busy building to the point where they're not thinking to ask themselves that question, because at that point they're focused on finances, paying the bills, revenues, streams of income. So their focus is on that, and they're not focusing
Mm,
on asking the right question for one, longevity, two, to be able to be serve customers, and then to be able to be more and effective. And when do we know and learn when to communicate? So that's where reviews will come in. But again, one could go from an entrepreneur to a hustle mode real quick.
oh, that's talk to them.
And forget the purpose and the mission and the scope of why the business was created. Because
Mm,
the pressure is applied, then they're not thinking like that. They're basically is I have to take care and maintain to sustain paying these
that's
bills.
good.
So what would be your advice? Because I mean, it's easy to do, especially but what I'm talking to you, but what I'm seeing is gaps of base when it comes to the infrastructure. Because even though we're building that blueprint and we have phases, sometimes we skip steps. And I'm saying we as business owners, because we done been there, done that. Some of them like, I take every step. Okay, fine. Based on what phase you're in and what and how business is going and how business is booming. Um, we could skip phases and still want the same outcome of streams of income. So, what would be
Mm.
your
I, I love the paint a picture of the busy leader, the busy entrepreneur, the busy business owner who is really not operating as the CEO of their business because they're too
mm,
busy hustling to keep the business afloat. I've been there. Has anybody else been there?
mhm,
And what's, let's use the word ironic, is they need to stop and think.
mm,
You may have heard of this concept called a think week, right? And that's a period of time where all you do in that week is plan, exercise your creativity, write down a vision. Most, I haven't had this privilege just yet. I'm working on it. Most of the leaders I know, most of the entrepreneurs I know, most of the business owners I know do not have the luxury of taking a week to stop working.
mm,
And which is again deeply ironic, but makes it even more important that they need that time. So here's the hack. Here's what I'm going to teach you what I did until we start building business where we can step away for a week and things don't fall apart, right? Checks don't bounce. Oh, I'm telling my age, right? Those payments don't bounce. So this is what I do. I set time every day and I write it down. As little as 15 minutes. That's the smallest increment I recommend. I write down my thoughts and ideas. I write down my plans. And you'll find that 15 minutes isn't enough time, but it's enough to
mm,
get your mind working, your mind going creatively. First thing in the morning, before you start answering emails, before you check your phone, and all the other hundreds of things that we have to take care of, I encourage you to set aside time daily to think. And that is going to help you create and ask yourself questions, those self reflective questions. That's going to help you create a business, not a hustle, not a job, right? Help you create a business where you
Mhm.
have time and that luxury to have that think week. So to get out of hustle mode, you have to start thinking. To to get out of the feast and famine cycle, you've got to ask yourself better questions, right? To get to the next level, you have to ask yourself better questions. To figure out what's the next move for your business, you have to ask better questions. To go from phase to phase to level up, you have to ask better questions. And it takes a lot of discipline to stop when everything around you is moving. If you can practice that just 15 minutes a day, you will not have the same life or business year over year. Oh, Dr. Lovella, did I lose you? Hang tight, y'all. Some technical difficulties. We're going to do a quick reset while we're waiting for it to come back on. My name is Bruce Hill of New Skills to You. I'm talking about my next book, Better Questions Equals Better Clients: How to Grow Your Business, Your
And
Revenue,
thank you
and
so
Increase Your Retention
much
without spending
for
time, money, or hiring.
sharing
Oh, you're back. Go ahead. All right. Looks like she's going to hop out and come back in. So, askingbetterquestions.com. Here's what I've done for everyone listening. I've gone back, I've been sales training for 15, almost 20 years now. I've been speaking for 30 years, and I've taken some of the best things I've learned and I've condensed them down. So if you are, let's say, a coach, a speaker, consultant, if you're a SaaS startup, I've got a special section there just for you all. If you are a leader in your business, maybe you have a team, whether it's a sales team or a customer facing team, the tip to, I want to say the tip, the framework, the secret to creating better clients is not expensive software. It's not hiring a C-level exec. There may be time for those things. But listen, it's not about spending more time. It's not about spending more money. It's about asking better questions. So you can visit www.askingbetterquestions.com, and I've done this where you'll get a copy of the book. You'll be mentioned in the book for free. I love to celebrate and thank people for supporting me. And while you're waiting for that to be edited and printed, you'll have access to two separate trainings on asking better questions and how to turn questions into clients. Okay. So that's my gift for you for sharing some of your time with me today. I know there's so many things pulling us in so many directions. So it's www.askingbetterquestions.com, and all the pre-orders will be mentioned in the book. Excuse me, almost exaggerated. The first 50 pre-orders, I haven't checked today how many are there. The first 50 pre-orders will be mentioned in the book for free. So here's the recap if you just hop in. There's three question frameworks to help you take your business to the next level. It's questions you ask yourself. It's questions you ask your clients. And there's questions your clients are asking. The questions you ask yourself are self-reflective. That's how you innovate. That's how you plan and prepare. The questions you ask your client are for feedback. It could be for referrals. So say, hey, would you recommend this to a friend or family? If not, why not? That's your area of improvement. Hey, you enjoy working with us. Thank you so much for renewing. What did you like best? What did you like the least? That's how you do more of what's working and less of what's not. Now, there's a set of questions that your client's asking themselves that they may not be asking you. You have to figure out what those are. And in the book, I give you a sneak peek into their mind and how to uncover that. Because when you're like, wow, I thought for sure they would renew, or I thought that was a guaranteed deal. What happened? You didn't answer questions that they were asking themselves. So when we talk about asking better questions, creates better clients. It's a simple framework that anyone of any skill level can use, any age group can use, introvert or extrovert, so that you can increase your customer retention, increase your revenue without having to spend money on all sorts of crazy things. Well, wonderful.
Thank you so much for holding the fort, Bruce.
Listen, after 30 years of practicing, it's hard to mess it up.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much for that. I had a question for you. Thank you
Yes.
so much to be able to express your heart and soul of the matter because I could truly hear your passion as an entrepreneur. I could truly hear your passion as a leader, but I could truly hear your passion as a troubleshooter
Hmm.
to help one fix possibly not what's broken, but to restructure or revamp.
Hmm.
And when you're talking about, and I'm going to go back to this in regards to phases, whatever we're talking about hustling. When you go from you said, oh my God, go from CEO to a hustler.
Mm.
When the pressure hits, how do one, an entrepreneur, use the pressure that's coming to really dive in to go and take a closer look? Because you
Hmm.
keep saying ask the better question and ask the better questions, but how do one ask the better question to really look at the foundation of their business if they're overriding or driven with fear of failure
Mm.
and for fear of making the wrong move because they're not comfortable or they're just so overly cautious or overwhelmed to the point where they really can't breathe doing their business for fear of failure.
Mm. So your question is, how can that busy entrepreneur, that business owner, that leader overcome fear of failure to get to the next level?
Yes.
Okay. And a lot of you are going to guess what I'll say is it's going to be asking better questions. Here's what happens. Fear is a good thing.
Mm.
Fear is a good thing. Fear is a biological response to danger. So I got a call one day. That's a true story. You can you can Google the time frame. Got a call. They said, Bruce, where are you? So what you mean? I'm chilling. They said, Bruce, do not go outside. And I said, well, why not? It's a beautiful day outside. They said, no, Bruce, don't go outside. A tiger has escaped the zoo. I thought they were pulling a prank on me. I checked the news, and sure enough, a tiger had escaped. Now, if you opened your front door and there was a tiger sitting there on your step looking at you, I want you to be afraid. I want you to act quickly, slam the door, lock the door, call animal control, 911, whoever. Fear is a good thing. Fear keeps you safe. Now, here's where it gets troublesome in business. We mistake, we misinterpret uncertainty for fear. Stay with me. We mistake uncertainty for fear. Our brain doesn't know where to categorize this. We're starting a new business. We've never done this before. What's going to happen? We have to leave a team. I've never led a team. Am I qualified? How's this going to turn out? And our mind interprets it as fear. Because there's no tiger to run from, there's no there's no one to fight, we end up freezing. It's either fight, flight, or freeze. We end up doing nothing. We ask ourselves, what if this all goes wrong? And a very simple mental shift is, hey, what happens if this goes right?
Mm.
When then we're going to work backwards, right? It's like asking better questions.
Yeah.
We say, okay, what if this goes right? Would it be worth the try if that was a possible outcome? You may say, yes, it is worth the try. The next question you want to ask yourself, what do I need to do? What do I need to know? Or who do I need to ask for help in order for that positive outcome to be the likely outcome? So it really comes back to asking those better questions, even in the face of that uncertainty that we interpret as fear. If we pause long enough to ask those questions and sit in the answers and think about the answers, you know what? I can do this. And for everything I can't do, I know who to ask for help. Listen, I'm never going to tell you you can do anything. Anything is possible if you have enough time, energy, and resources. The mistake that most people make is they try to use all of their time, all of their energy, and all of their resources. So when I say I don't want to tell you you can't do anything by yourself. That's where you stop being stuck and start achieving success. And it all starts with asking better questions.
Mm. Thank you so much for sharing that. Again, he said it's not necessarily fair, but the uncertainty, and you will never know until you try. You
Mhm.
get to try. And when you said that, all I could think of is that we have a lot of isolated entrepreneurs
Mhm.
that's innovating and being creative by themselves, and they're not one to reach out to ask a question or who do I ask or whatever, not realizing that that's going to be a strong word when one is isolated and not in a place to be able to ask or to receive. It kind of hinders the process of their creativity. It kind of restricts a little bit. But if they could have an open mind to be able to, like you said, research and ask questions and reach out with others with the same like minds, or even to be research the same model. But what did they do to be able to ask the right questions? So we've been asking the right questions, Bruce. Now for the customers, the customer base.
Hmm.
What are ways that one could get, once they start asking themselves the right question, what are ways that one can find or target the right customers?
Hmm. Beautiful. How do we target and find the right customers? So it goes back to what are the three question frameworks? The questions we ask ourselves, the questions we ask our customers, and the question our customers are asking to themselves. So we're still on that first framework. Until you understand who is the customer, you're going to have a hard time finding the customer. Here's what happened. People say something like, "Oh, I help everybody." Well, unless you speak in indigenous language of Central America, Kachik, you're going to have a hard time helping them because a lot of them don't even speak Spanish, let alone English. So we have to be very careful we say everyone because we cannot realistically serve everyone. Not even realistic. I'm careful with that word. Without great difficulty, serve everyone for reach or resources. Okay. Currently, I believe this last time I checked, there's 8 billion people in the world. You don't have the reach or the resources to help 8 billion people. So that's not an answer. Let's go to the other end. Some people don't want to help people like me. And that can be too small. So that was too big, that was too small. What I found is most helpful is say, who are people who have had a similar experience or problem as I have that I'm uniquely qualified to solve? Now we have a right size pool of people. And I want you to be so specific in describing those people, I can tell someone else and they can go find them for me. Because if you tell me, who do you serve? Everyone. Great. Hey, Bruce, here's my toddler. They really like strawberry ice cream. Can you help them? No. I teach personal professional development with an emphasis to sales skills to service based businesses. I can't help toddlers. You're like, oh, Bruce, here's my Nana. She has a wonderful spaghetti bolognese recipe. Can you help her? No, I can't help her. She's probably a much better cook than I am, and she doesn't have a business. So, but if I say, hey, if you know someone who has a customer facing business that's a service, not a product, who wants to increase their revenue and increase their retention without hiring a sales team or implementing expensive software, send them to me. I can help them a lot. And what I want to challenge you is instead of focusing on helping a lot of people a little bit, find a few people that you can help in a big way.
Thank you so much for that. Find a few people that you could help in a big way. And so that goes back to the business plan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the business plan also helps you narrow down who your target audience or customer base is. So every now and then we got to go back based on demographics, based on your structure and your phase, is to go back to that business plan. And like you said, ask better questions to be able to serve. Thank you so much for that. And so looking at the time, tell us about, give us a scenario with your business, how you were able to help a business owner or CEO, not only with personal development, but for them to be able to be one with their vision.
Ooh, you ask good questions, Dr. Lovella. So let me see if I can get this. I'm actually going to pull my notes here because I want to tell this story accurately.
Okay.
And I only use true stories. If you woke up and you saw a charge to your account for a negative $7,000, what would go through your head?
Mm.
How would you feel if your account was $7,000 the wrong way? This is a scenario I walked into as a business performance advisor from a very successful client. And she told me, she said, Bruce, I can't keep doing this. One chargeback is shutting down my business. Why? What do I do? She's like, do I keep going? I love that question. Or do I quit? Do I pivot or do I persevere? And that's a great question. I believe everyone should spend a little time every quarter thinking about what would happen if I quit. And then don't quit. Keep going. So I started looking at her process. I started looking at her business. I started looking at her sales process specifically. And what I found was she wasn't asking the right questions. I found that she has such a big heart that she would want to add value, and people were leaving with half of the instructions. And they thought they had the full picture. So because they only had half of the instructions, they were getting none of their results. And what happens if someone's not getting results? They're going to dispute the charge. They're going to ask for a refund. The solution I have for a business was so simple, but it was the biggest return on investment. I taught her to ask better questions, and we taught her to be clear on the problem she solved. We taught her to be clear on the commitment from the client that this isn't magic. They've got to participate in their own success. And we taught her a simple framework of questions to ask so that she only signed contracts with the best fit clients. Clients that could pay her, were happy to pay her, that wanted to pay her again to come back, and were telling friends, right? Does everybody want some of those clients, some of those dream clients? It transformed her business. In the last quarter of the year, she did more than she did in the first 3 quarters of the year. She had her first 5 figure week and then her first 5 figure day. She didn't buy any new software. She didn't work any more hours. She actually worked less hours because she wasn't wasting time with those knucklehead clients. You guys know the ones I'm talking about. All because she learned to ask better questions. That's the power of asking better questions in your business and asking the right questions. So the transformation was spending more time with the right clients, less time with the headache clients, less time in her business, and making more money. One of my
Give an
favorite success
example.
stories.
Give an example of what the better question would be.
One of my favorite questions before I talk to any client: what do you hope to achieve by working with us? Write that one down. What do you hope to achieve by working with us? And this question, man, I can't even break down two things. There's a whole section on this in the book. One, it assumes they've already decided to work with you. Two, it sets the expectation early. Now that's important because if you work with me and you say, hey, Bruce, I heard one new skill will change your life. If I work with you, will I be able to win the Mr. Olympia weightlifting competition? Absolutely not. You'll grow your business, but you're not going to win any competitions, bodybuilding competitions. And that seems silly, but I've had people call me and they say, hey, Bruce, can you help me with my Section 8 voucher? Hey, Bruce, can you teach me what do they want to learn? Something around car engines. I don't know how I got that call. Asking a question, what do you expect to get out of working with us? It's going to save you so much headache. It's going to help you catch people that aren't the right fit earlier, not later. So then, I love that question. Number two, what happens if you don't work with us? And so if they are not here, you said something earlier is really good. Sometimes people don't have problems. They just have big goals. Things are really going well, but they have higher aspirations. So I'm careful to teach on solving problems. That's a good way, but it's not the best way. I say, well, what happens if you don't work with us? If they tell you everything's going to be fine, nothing will really go wrong, may not be the best client for you. Maybe it'll help them a little bit. But they say, listen, this we have to achieve this goal, whether it's to escape a problem or to achieve some new level of success. We have to make this happen. You can ask them, hey, well, I see this is important to you. It would be our privilege if we can help you achieve this goal faster and easier. Will you allow us to do that for you? And you get the permission. Then, then we show them how. A lot of people show them how and then ask permission. So, what do you hope to accomplish from working with us? What happens if you don't work with us? Will you give us the opportunity to solve your problem or accelerate your success? Those are three questions that all of you can use today that will help you grow your business. There's more. There's so many more, but I hope those you can put into action sooner than later.
Thank you so much for that. Now I have two big questions. The first one is, how do you deal with that entrepreneur that have outgrown their business?
How do you deal with an entrepreneur that has outgrown their business? Those are actually, say that last part.
They've lost passion.
Oh, passion. Oh, well, you shouldn't be building businesses on passion anyway. That's a mistake. A business isn't to satisfy your passion. Your business is to add value to the marketplace. You create a business, right? A system, an organization that can run well without you.
Yes.
You have bought back time. Now you take that time and go pursue your passion. Now you have profits. You take those profits and you go pursue your passion. I discourage anyone and everyone from starting a business because they're passionate about it. The problem with that is they don't delegate, they're short sighted, and they're unwilling to sell the business. And sometimes an exit, an acquisition for your business is an influx of capital that will let you go spend time and energy on what you're passionate about. Disclaimer, I am not saying you have to wait till you have an 8-figure exit of your business to pursue your passion. It may take that before you can pursue your passion full time. So follow your passion today, but grow your business to add value to the marketplace. Growing a business because you're passionate about it is selfish. And it's not the reason business was created. Businesses go this way. They serve this way. They add value this way. You take that profit and pursue your passion. So if you've outgrown your business, there's 3 things you need to do. And they all start with better questions. Can I sell the business? That's the first thing. I built this system. Let me cash out. Number 2, can I put it on autopilot? You may need to do that one to sell it, but I'm not an M&A specialist. Number 3 is, what does it look like if I keep going? All right, so number 1, sell it. Number 2, automate it. Number 3, just keep going. But if you've outgrown your business, that means you've stopped growing. So business only grows as big as you are. And that's why it's new skills, new you, right? Because if we grow the people, we grow the business. So if you're a 100-person organization, a 1-person organization, or 10,000, you grow the people, you grow the business. That's why people work with me. Nothing I've taught you all this evening is revolutionary. I didn't invent any of it. I only made it so simple. The only reason it doesn't work is if you choose not to do the work.
Thank you so much for that. Again, selling is to detach, or you've achieved that goal and now you're selling it. Now, Bruce, this is that I was also asking these questions because I've worked with leaders that when we do a mindset audit, they either one, they're disconnected from the vision or they don't remember the vision, or two, like you said, the purpose for starting that business, um, that either one, are grown it, or two, they're so disconnected from it because when they started it, they had one purpose. And then as they grow and evolve, not realizing that they are growing and evolving, blossoming, and the business should grow with them, but they don't have or gravitated to that mental note. Um, they either one, they just start. Well, I don't want to say use the word haywire, but at the same time, it's like the business have outgrown the capacity because they've invested so much time that it's now blossoming, but yet they can't see what they have implemented, and they're busy, or they're so busy working and driving to the point where they can't see the outcome. And if you can't see the outcome, is that because, like you said earlier, your expectations or off, or based on your goals, and also taking the time to look to reflect. Thus, going back to self reflection, like you said, for 15 minutes, and writing down your ideas. Do you have anything to add to that?
So you have a really powerful scenario here where we've lost sight of the vision, maybe we've lost the passion, maybe we've outgrown the business. And the answer is very simple, but simple isn't easy. You have to sit still and ask yourself, here we go, better questions. Where do I want to go? And who will I help along the way? I have to put those questions in a pair. I had to put them together. Because if you just say, where do you want to go? Well, I've always wanted to visit Turks and Caicos. That seems like a really beautiful vacation destination. But that's not what we're talking about, is it? When we say, well, who do I want to help along the way? There's so many people that need help. And you can lose sleep trying to help everybody and end up helping very few people in a really small way. But if you say, hey, listen, I know that I can impact 2,500 small businesses to break the pattern of that first year close or over 3 years where 50% shut their doors. If we can create longevity in businesses, I can teach 2,500 small businesses sales success and change lives along the way. That's the mission. That's the vision. How I do that's changed over the years. And so this is where you're in this situation where you're thinking about shutting the doors, you're thinking about calling it quits. That's okay. I don't want you to feel guilty for feeling that. Before you do, give yourself permission to take a different route to get there. The destination, remember I said earlier, the problems don't change, how we solve the problems change. So sometimes you may be frustrated in your business or stagnant in your business because you're using old ways to solve old problems. When you want to find new ways to solve new problems, it will reinvigorate you and inspire you to keep pushing forward.
Thank you so much for that. So, Bruce, how can they find you? Please tell us a little bit about. I know you talked a little bit about your business, but a little bit in depth about your business so they can know a little bit more about you and what you do.
Mhm.
If you don't mind
So
sharing.
new skills, new you is very, very simple. It is one new skill will change your life. So we do that through digital products, through physical books. We're working on audio books for my audio learners, consulting, as well as live engagements like this. So we're very easy to find. It's new skills, new you everywhere. I'm really proud of the work the teams put in. If you Google new skills, new you, the first two pages pop up. We're just all over the place, and I love it. I think the best way for someone that wants to learn more, that just wants a little taste, is, hey, I don't know about this Bruce guy, but I want to learn some more. Or someone said, man, that was really good. What's the next step? It's askingbetterquestions.com. That's the best way to prepare your team, to prepare as an individual. So you can take some of these things we've talked about and put them into action, because everything I say is absolutely useless until you use it. So do yourself a favor. Your payoff is only as great as your participation.
Thank you so much. And how could they find you based on your website again and also social media?
Absolutely. New skills, new you everywhere. If you're a coach, speaker, consultant, if you're a leader in a SaaS based company, we have resources designed to help you hear yes more often without sounding salesy. So it's new skills, new you everywhere. And Again, for free resources, askingbetterquestions.com.
Okay. And you mentioned your book. What's the title of your book, and where can they purchase your book?
The title of the book is, drum roll please, Better Questions, Better Clients. And it's at askingbetterquestions.com.
Oh my goodness! Thank you so much for that. Now, what would you tell the leader who leads differently, or the emerging leaders
Mm.
that are navigating? They're thinking profit, loss, structure,
Mhm.
AI implementation. What would be your word of wisdom to the leader who leads differently?
You know, they always caution me, as I've learned and trained, be careful to reference other people's work in your talks. But I like to give credit to the people that taught me. So for that leader that's been pulled in many different directions, that cares about their people and is looking for the next level of success, there's two resources that help me immensely, and that's Good Leaders Ask Great Questions, book by John Maxwell. Wonderful resource. Good Leaders Ask Great Questions. And there's questions again, right?
Mhm.
The second is by Benjamin Hardy and Dan Solomon, Who, Not How. Again, more questions. And that one has a very powerful question of who do we need to help us with this, not how do we do this. And that very simple shift has been life changing and business changing. And there is, it shows up day to day in my life and in my business. So I want to share that with you all as well.
And thank you so much for that. And for those that are watching, thank you so much for tuning in. And for those that will be watching the video, please type hashtag replay. Tell us where you're from, and let us know how this session has impacted you while you're pivoting, transitioning, thinking of starting a business. Let us know. And also, Bruce, before you forget, what is, if you don't mind, once more to type or tell us your website address? I know some people are more listening than watching. What is your website address?
Absolutely. Let me see if I can put in the comments here on
Okay.
YouTube. It's www.askingbetterquestions, plural.com.
Thank you for that. And like Bruce Hill said, ask yourself better questions. And the more you ask yourself better questions, it's like pretty much holding yourself accountable to your thought process, your implementation, and your execution when it comes to your building your process. I remember you are the blueprint, you are the concept, the visualization, the illustration, the mental model of your business. So what you see is what we'll be able to see, and what you project is what we'll be able to project. But based on your implementation, like Bruce said, to be able to serve, give, or be proactive in your community for somebody to benefit from your, and I call it mental model, because your intelligence, that's what they tap into, Bruce. Your business structure is your intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see and view the way you think, the way you're wired, and why you are successful the way you are. And I said that because based on the model that Bruce had, based on his impact, and for those that will be listening to this down the line, we will have generations that's emerging that will say, hey, I want to tap into that blueprint. Let me know and learn more about Bruce. And hey, they go chasing and tracing his footprints, but they're tapping into the DNA of his mind, who he is. So thank you so much, Bruce, for being a leader who leads differently. We couldn't have done this segment without you. Thank you for the richness of your message. Thank you for the knowledge and the wisdom that you have given us to now hold ourselves accountable, to look and reflect a little bit differently, and also to look at the blueprint a little bit differently. Thank you so much for that. You have any last words before we close out on today?
Absolutely. The message is always the same. My folks from the mastermind already know what I'm going to say. And one new skill will change your life.
Thank you so much for that. And thank you for joining Leaders Who Lead Differently.
Cheers.